Mark always took the same route home from work, a quiet road that passed through a small park near the edge of town. That night the moon hung low, casting long, eerie shadows across the path. He pulled his jacket tighter as the cool evening air sent shivers down his spine. The day had been exhausting, and all he wanted to do was go home, have a drink, and crash on the couch. As he neared the park, something caught his eye, a figure standing motionless under one of the streetlights. At first, Mark thought it was a trick of the light, or maybe someone was waiting for a ride. But as he got closer, his breath caught. It was a female figure, her face obscured by shadows, but he recognized her silhouette immediately. It was his wife. "Anna?" he whispered, and the disbelief froze in place. Anna died 3 years ago in a car accident. He buried her, missed her, spent endless nights wishing she could come back somehow. And yet here she was, standing before him just as he remembered, her long dark hair falling over her shoulders, her favorite blue dress swaying slightly in the wind. "Mark," she said, her voice soft and familiar. "I'm back." His legs seemed to turn to stone. How is that possible?" Pausing, taking a hesitant step forward. His heart was pounding wildly, torn between disbelief and the desperate hope that she had somehow returned. "I missed you," she whispered, her voice echoing in the still night. She took a step towards him, and the light finally revealed her face. Mark's heart sank into his stomach. Her face was not Anna's. It was something different, something distorted and grotesque. Her skin was too pale, her eyes too wide and shining with an unnatural light. Her mouth stretched into a cruel, distorted smile. Too many teeth were visible under her lips. The more he looked, the more the image of his beloved wife seemed to distort into something terrible. "Come to me, Mark," the creature purred, its voice changing from sweet to something dark and unnatural. "We can be together again." Fear exploded in Markov's chest. He staggered back, shaking his head. "You're not her," he managed to say in a trembling voice. "You are not Anna." The creature's smile widened and a hand reached out, long fingers curling into sharp claws. "But me," he hissed, taking another step toward him. "You wanted me back, didn't you? Now I'm here." Mark turned and ran. He could hear the creature's footsteps behind him, unnaturally fast, its voice now a low growl. "You can't run away from me, Mark. You called me." Panic fueled his legs as he raced toward his house, his breathing ragged and harsh in the cold air. The sound of claws scraping against cobblestones echoed in his ears. He did not dare to look back. His front door was just ahead. Mark reached for it, sorting through the keys, his hands shaking violently. He could feel the creature getting closer, the air around him getting colder. With a desperate push, he opened the door, staggered in and closed it behind him, locking it with trembling hands. His heart pounded in his chest as he pressed his back against the door, waiting for the sound of scratching, waiting for the creature to break free. But there was nothing, only silence. Mark stood there, breathing heavily, trying to calm his racing heart. Whatever it wasn't his wife. It tired her face, whispered her words, but it was something much darker, something that came after him,